Hi, and welcome to UGC for B2B. I'm Nicole, and this is Alice, and we're digital media strategists here at MarketScale. We get to work with some of the best companies in B2B, and today we're going to be talking about user-generated content, also known as UGC. Alice, do you want to let us know what is user-generated content and what role does authenticity play in this form of creator content?
Yeah, definitely. So in the market scale community, we frequently refer to UGC, user generated content, as CGC or community generated content because we feel like it's a more precise way to describe the idea. Basically, it's media like videos, photos, reviews, social posts created by people within the brand's community rather than the brand itself. So this could include their clients, their partners, or even the experts behind the scenes who are helping to refine and elevate their brand to its highest potential. So it's not really about the company saying, hey, look how great we are. It's more about real members of the community sharing their genuine experiences with the brand's product or service. It makes it so incredibly powerful because it comes from the voices of people who trust and connect with the brand and really create a sense of relatability and authenticity. I was actually on a call with a client a couple of months ago now, and we were relating this concept back to when you were a teenager and your mom gave you advice, and no matter how good that advice was, you'd roll your eyes and just go, "Oh, mom, no, oh." But if your cool younger aunt gave you the exact same advice, it was suddenly irrefutable. It was, gospel truth. Why? Because from, your perspective as a teenager, it was coming from someone you could relate to or connect with or was more tapped in to your age group or your interests. And that's exactly what CGC is all about and why influencers are so successful because instead of a polished marketing team or a high budget ad campaign pitching a product or service, it's basically just a brand's community that can show how it fits into their real lives. They're basically like that cool aunt. They're going to be relatable, honest, and their content is going to feel more genuine, even with the flaws. So that's what people want, not an idealized sales pitch, but the real deal, pros and cons included. And that connection is what is going to ultimately build trust, engagement, and increase sales.
Absolutely. And people trust people, right? I mean, we've seen this in the B2C world. We've seen this in entertainment. They have really championed this idea of UGC. And B2B is usually a little bit behind those companies with marketing, but you're seeing B2B companies roll it in. But we can learn a lot from those other companies. If you take a look at GoPro, they have rolled out an amazing UGC campaign where they asked all their users to submit some of the most iconic, jaw-dropping, extreme, adrenaline pumping content. This reminds me of my brother. He is in a sport called ice cross. It's insane. They have hockey gear on. It attracts a lot of ex-hockey players. They go down these crazy ice luge track jumps and at record speed. And prior to the pandemic, Red Bull actually owned them and was championing them. And due to, I don't know, some things, they had to drop them. And so the racers were left on their own devices to champion the sport, build community. But they have done such an amazing job, zero marketing. And all they do is put on these GoPros, capture this insane footage. Every time I watch it, I feel like my brother's going to die what he's doing. But and then they take out their phones and they capture the pre-race, setting up the track, what they're doing to get ready for the race, champagne bottles spraying after someone wins a race. There are so many different characters, colorful characters within the races. And, as B2B companies, you have so many different colorful characters within your organization, right? How can you encourage them to get on the mic, share what they know, and bring their personality to the camera, to the screen? Because, like you said, people trust people. And, these racers all have different personalities. One of them in particular is he's Swiss, and the Swiss love their cheese. The guy travels with a raclette cheese melting machine in his bag. And after the races, he takes it out and he melts cheese. He makes these cheese sandwiches for all the racers. It is ridiculous, but it's gold because it shows the sport. It shows the different personalities in the sport, and people just eat it up. It's so fun.
No, and I think brands are starting to realize too that people will not connect with a brand the way they can connect with a person, a personality. And we saw this with the Olympics, speaking of sports. Ileana Maher, I believe is how you pronounce her name. She is a women's rugby player for the United States. And, she showed us the behind the scenes of the Olympics. She was posting absolutely hilarious videos, during the lunch lines for all of the athletes, or she would be posting, oh, I bet so and so like so and so, and trying to set people up in the Olympic Village behind the scenes. And she was just sharing unhinged content, day to day life, nothing high quality, literally just phone out, capturing, a sandwich, someone sneezing, um, injuries on and off the field, just random content that connected so much with the viewers on social media, whether it was Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. And many people on a variety of platforms are saying, hey, I wasn't going to watch the Olympics this year, but this girl has cracked me up so much. Now I need to know if she wins. And so the Olympics garnered a massive additional viewer or following, or a viewer base, just based off of Ileana's social media presence, because she is funny and you can connect to her.
That's such a smart point that you bring up, bringing in unlikely audience members and unlikely fans through UGC. It reminds me, just last week, two of my boys play travel hockey. Much of my family are Rangers fans, but I'm in the tri-state area. So you have Rangers fans, you have Devils fans, you have Flyers fans. Well, the New Jersey Devils reach out to the different hockey travel teams, and they offer a game for the travel team to come in and do a little shootout or play a little game during halftime. Here's why this is so smart and how it ties into UGC. They, first of all, they offer parents premium seats that are not discounted. So for a Ranger fan to shell out premium non-discounted seats, or Flyer fans, it would never happen. But because it's our kids, people are like, yeah, I'll pony that up. It's the opportunity. They're creating a fan experience that you cannot say no to, even from a rival team, right? So we're buying premium seats, we're going there. And then when our kids hit the ice, we're all taking out our phones and we're recording our kids, and then we're putting them on our sites. Most of the time, a Ranger fan is never going to put, devil content on their feed. But now they're getting Ranger fans, Devils fans, and Flyers fans all, promoting the Devils, showcasing this event. It is super smart, and you can build a lot of those different, contests or fun opportunities around UGC. Going back to GoPro, they have the GoPro Awards where they award the best content. So those are, fun things you could really play with.
Yeah, and that actually reminds me, I was going to talk about something totally different, but something came to mind recently from the NFR, the big like rodeo country fest sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But basically, they invite so many influencers, and they've changed it from just a rodeo or a horse riding competition into a almost an influencer event of sorts. It's about the fashion, it's about the food. People are posting for weeks leading up to this event, talking about, hey, this is what I'm going to wear, here's what I ordered for this event, here is the segments of this event I'm going to go see, here's my husband, he's riding at this time, check him out, on this and that station, here's the hotel we're staying in. And watching these influencers be able to not only promote the event, but the hotels with the event and these specific sponsors for each event is absolutely insane. And not only do they do it the day of, because I think a lot of brands think in terms of, okay, well, we're going to promote this day and that's it. No, they're promoting it for months and months leading up to this event, and they're building that hype. And because you have that one-on-one connection with these influencers, that is all the more people that are going to book those stays at the hotels in order to attend. All of those people who are going to tune in to the various stations that are hosting this. Um, and to me, it's been an absolutely wild thing to watch too, because they've started to incorporate celebrities. So some of the opening night events feature celebrities who have worked their way into rodeo culture. Think Bella Hadid. Think of some of the actors from Yellowstone. They've started to incorporate so many different dynamics and so many different industries into their promotional materials, verticals that you don't think would align necessarily with their vision. They've worked it in to just gain an even bigger and bigger audience throughout the past couple of years.
That is so smart. And you mentioned celebrities, and those are like A-list celebrities. Every company has their own celebrities, right? You have your experts. Think of your experts as your celebrities. And those engagement numbers are amazing to see. The data and the numbers don't lie. To throw some stats at you, I had a friend recently who created a name, image, likeness agency. College athletes are now able to make money off of their name and their image. And he actually took 24 college athletes and partnered with Atlantic Records. He had the college athletes create UGC using the music at Atlantic, and a mere 24 students created over 1.1 million impressions for Atlantic Records. So it's really amazing what you can do, and the data is there to prove it. So we've talked a lot about B2C and entertainment companies and what they have done to champion UGC. Alice, you work with a lot of companies in B2B. How have you seen them champion this?
So, one of my favorite success stories recently involves Censis Technologies. They're an AI driven surgical instrument tracking system or platform. And right now, they're working on some exciting updates to their platform that they're going to be rolling out for their clients sometime in January. And they're bringing in industry experts to do a first look review. So this is really cool because these experts are going to record themselves, screen share themselves going through this platform, walking through it for the first time, and offering their honest and unfiltered feedback, highlighting the pros and the cons of the features. So I know a lot of times with traditional media, what we do is we take the best parts of every single service or product, and we only feature those in a flashy, high resolution commercial. This is going to be different. It's going to be essentially a form of user generated content coming from people with deep expertise in the field. And so it's going to be a transparent approach that's going to help build credibility, but also it's going to help Census fine tune their platform in real time based on these insights. And it's just a great example of how UGC, whether from clients or experts, can really drive product improvement and brand trust in the B2B space.
Yeah, tapping into your experts is so powerful. It actually makes me think of when people go to the doctor, insurance companies started just letting you go to a specialist instead of going to your general practitioner, and then they send you to specialists because they realize that people want a specialist. They want to hear from the best of the best within that industry. So spotlighting your experts is so strategic. It's so powerful. One of our clients, Verizon, has done this really well with their new series that they rolled out this year called You Ask, We Answer. And they take their internal experts, put them on the mic, talking about their initiatives or what's going on in healthcare. The audience has really connected to that. And then off of, the expert show that they have running, they also have a podcast called Healthcare on Air with Verizon. And it is a general healthcare podcast where they highlight movers and shakers in the industry. And it all connects back to their initiatives, but they're not getting on the mic and they're just talking about themselves, right? They're spotlighting other people. They're building partnerships. They're building out their community. Every time they have a guest on their channel, they grab their audience. And a lot of times they're going to these healthcare shows in the year, like health. And so what they do is they find out the partners or some key speakers who are going to be at the event. They'll invite them as guests onto their podcast to, number one, just have an industry conversation, but then also hype up the event that they're both going to be at. So they're promoting the event. They're saying, hey, stop by our booth. Oh, you're also going to be there. What are you excited about? You're getting momentum. A lot of times these shows will often see that and promote it on their feed. So then now you're getting another person that is building engagement and audience with that piece of content. They'll go to a show. When they go to the show, back in the day, used to be like, oh, here's my business card. I'll call you on Monday. Well, it's 2025. And now you can say, I have a podcast. I love what you do. I'd love to spotlight you on my channel. Email me. Let's set this up. And, you're setting up a great conversation for your audience, informing them, and then creating these amazing organic relationships while you do it. So there's so many different strategies and verticals that really can pop off with just one piece of content.
Definitely. And Verizon has been so successful at hosting other brands and other thought leaders in the industry. And the next example I was going to bring up, Usto, they actually recently recorded with Verizon, and they were so, so excited about that partnership. They both walked away and seemed very happy with the recording, so I can't wait to listen to it. But Usto, they're a company that specializes in real-time facial recognition software. So while they don't do exactly what Verizon does, and a lot of people would discredit that as, oh, okay, they have no synergy, why would you do a podcast? They were able to hop on a call, work it out together, figure out that they had some similar verticals in the healthcare space, and they recorded an absolutely fire episode. I looked at the outline. It was so informative. I think that a lot of people in the healthcare industry will benefit from listening from it. So I think one important thing that a lot of companies do that I would love to see more of is looking outside of partners or podcast guests that make sense. Or look like they instantaneously have synergy, and go beyond and go, no, this person has potential. Let's go and delve into that. And that's something Verizon is so, so good at. But with Usto, they have been doing a phenomenal job as well. They just started their podcast, and they noticed that there was a lot of worry around their technology and about misuse in terms of facial recognition and AI. People are concerned about surveillance, data misuse, bias in algorithms, or even how their personal data is being handled in general. So for Usto, overcoming these concerns was one of the keys to selling their platform, and they knew they needed to address these issues openly. So they started their podcast, Innovation Obsessed, to have those honest conversations. And they've used it to talk about the ethical side of facial recognition, explain how their tech works, and reassure people about privacy. So their goal is to improve security, not invade privacy. And by engaging directly with their audience, they built trust and credibility. And what I think is really cool is how they've been doing that. They've been using feedback from their audience, as well as feedback garnered through social media and on the web, and even Reddit, to answer questions and clear up misconceptions. And it's just a perfect example of user-generated content where listeners are going to feel heard and become part of the conversation, and it's going to help shape the future of the platform.
Absolutely. Podcasts, great way to get out messaging, initiatives, huge partnership drivers. Creativity and authenticity drive engagement. That is universal. So as your companies are trying to implement this, start small, find formulas or formats that speak to you, give it to your team, but then let them fly, let them have fun. Let them create content that speaks to them, because I think when you do that, you're going to find that they're going to create content that speaks to a wide audience and resonates on a really deep level.